your flesh and blood.
Welcome to Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson. This is a brand new series we hope that you will enjoy, and it's called Body of Health. Dennis, welcome, and let us start out by telling people about, I guess best way to put it is, our disclaimer.
Okay. Well, Richard, thank you so much for having me on this series. I'm really excited about doing this, but I think it's very important that everyone understand that neither of us are medical doctors or have any kind of medical training. We are just people who are very interested in health and being able to get better faster, so that if you have some problem, that gives you a place to go to find things that have worked for other people that may help you, or they may not, but there'll be something worthwhile checking out.
Body of Health is going to be here every week. The website that we're going to suggest you go to for information, number one website is dennisjhenson.com, which we will have in the audio and video podcast videocast. But there's also a Facebook location, and basically it's facebook.com/groups/body of health. Once again, facebook.com/groups, that's plural, groups/body of health. We hope that you will go there to check out the information that Dennis has provided with us. And with that, we move into Body of Health series here on Tell Me Your Story with yours truly, Richard Dugan and Dennis Henson. We are here to share with you about the body of health and longevity and quality of life, all those good things that make life, quite honestly, make it worth living. Because when you've got your health, as they say, right, Dennis, you've got everything, and it's great to have you back again.
Thank you, Richard. It's great to be here. I look forward to these programs every week.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you, I love the conversation that we're going to have today, right? In terms of a dozen ways to live longer. What are the primary benefits of following some of the suggestions? It has a dozen. I'm sure there are many more, but we're going to keep it down to a dozen, maybe a baker's dozen, that kind of thing.
Well, our goal today is to be able to live longer and stay healthy while you're living longer by avoiding stroke, heart attack, Alzheimer's, dementia. And also, these things help against MS, MD, arthritis, peripheral neuropathy, type 2 diabetes, cancer, osteoporosis.
Yep.
My brain like that. Osteoporosis, chronic inflammation, which is a real key, and a number of other diseases.
Well, and you and I, we have come up with a new set of words to go with AI. Obviously, artificial intelligence can help too. You can do a little research there, but we have found that anti-inflammatory solutions is sort of a key here. And that's quite a list, by the way, that you've got there. What are the 12 things that we should be doing to help to encourage AI in our bodies, so to speak?
Well, Richard, some of these are surprising. Some of them are things you may not have even considered, like this first one. Oral health is extremely important. What's going on beneath or above your teeth in those areas are directly connected to your heart. So if you have problems with your oral health, you're probably going to have problems with your heart also. So I thought that was pretty interesting. The next one is extreme temperature exposure. You want to expose yourself to extreme cold, like taking a bath in ice or a very cold shower. And also saunas. Saunas are extremely good for you because they help clean the pores out and remove the bad stuff from the largest organ in your body, which is your skin. Number 3 would be to stay hydrated and eat healthy. It's extremely important. It's critical what you put into your body. So you should strive to eat fresh foods that have been alive in the past, such as meats, fruits, and vegetables. And you should also drink water to hydrate with sea salt. Now, the water will hydrate you, but if you take it with sea salt, it's multiplied many, many times over. And a 4th one would be eat foods that have a lot of fiber. I saw a study just a couple of weeks ago that the more fiber you eat, the longer you live. The more roughage that you put through your system helps to clean the system out, the longer you live. And I especially like that because I love popcorn. And it has a lot of roughage. And if you prepare it with the right kind of oil, it's actually even better for you than just the popcorn itself. Number 4 would be supplement. Now, we've done lots of programs and talked about a lot of supplements. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, here's what I should do. I should narrow it down to as few as possible. These are the ones that are absolutely critical. And that would be, number 1, vitamin D3 and K2. You want to take those 2 together. The next one is magnesium glycinate. Mm-hmm. Magnesium glycinate. And number 3, omega-3s for the EPA and DHA. Then trace minerals. Take a good multivitamin and electrolytes. Now, if you just, throw everything else you've learned away, don't get confused. If you just put those things in your body, it's giving your body the best chance for longevity, good health, and longer life.
Well, I'll tell you, first of all, I want to remind our listeners the supplements that Dennis has mentioned are available through bodyofhealth.life. That's bodyofhealth.life. That is not all that's there. That, shall we say, that internet store, bodyofhealth.life. It's growing, folks. The shelves are getting filled up with all kinds of great stuff. But I wanted to go back to the one you were talking about here, Hydrate and Eat Healthy. Does it matter what kind of water, what type of water, as long as it's H2O, is that sufficient, or should we be looking for a particular type of water? You talked about putting sea salt in there. No, you don't want to go to the ocean and drink the water there. Don't do that, please. I know it has sea salt, but is there an optimal type of water that we should be drinking?
Spring water.
Okay.
If you can get spring water, that's the best. The worst kind of water is the water out of your tap. Really, anywhere in the United States, some of them are really, really bad. And most of them are bad. So stay away from tap water unless you have a really, really good filter. You can buy these filtration systems, put them in, and then you'll probably be okay.
Okay.
But you probably do not want to get reverse osmosis water because it takes out any of the good things that would be in there. Spring water is great. It has minerals in it. It's good. It's just the best that you can put in your body. And as far as the electrolytes, you can take some sea salt, take a pinch of it, put it under your tongue, let it dissolve, and then drink a glass of water. That's the very best of the best for hydration. And if you do that 3 times a day, you don't have to drink 64 ounces of water a day. Mm-hmm. That may be too much. I've seen some things that said, take your weight, divide it in half, and that's how many. No, that's too much. It's like flooding the system. But your goal is to become hydrated. And the minerals in the sea salt aid in the hydration dramatically. So just a pinch of sea salt, drink a glass of water 3 times a day, that will be plenty for your hydration. Now, if you don't do the sea salt, you have to drink more water.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just how it is.
Well, sounds good. And again, we encourage you to go to bodyofhealth.life to find out more about a lot of the stuff that's available. Of course, of course, Dennis and both of us, we drink the Morning Clarity coffee, which is, what is it? 30% mushrooms and 70% coffee. And it just, for me, I've never drank coffee as a stimulant in the morning. It was never, I know a lot of people do that because of the caffeine. It gets them going, right? I never did it for that reason. It was because I just liked the taste. And now, yes, of course, I'd put my plant-based sweetener in there and maybe a little cinnamon, that kind of thing. Now, it's just straight cinnamon. That's the cinnamon sugar thing that you'll buy at the store. And it just, I'll sit out on the front porch and I'll put on my Audible. Right now, folks, I'm listening to a great book recommended to me by a very, very good friend of mine called, the book is called The Science of Getting Rich. And we're now talking about the science of getting rich as far as our bodies are concerned. We hope you'll stay with us as we continue talking about all of this good stuff and the dozen ways to increase your longevity here on The Body of Health on Tell Me Your Story. Reverend Dr. D, Dennis Henson here, and just a reminder, we are not doctors. We are sharing with you our personal experiences, Dennis's information he's gathered since his stroke back in 2018. I shouldn't say strokes, multiple strokes, if I'm not mistaken, Dennis. And right. We're trying to help you to maybe avoid some of these things that are hurting us as people, as human beings, in terms of our health, and not wanting to really feel that good about living much longer. I don't know if maybe I've shared this before. My father, when he turned 70, now he passed away at the age of 92. So he lived another 22 years after I asked him this question. On his 70th birthday, we're sitting around having a little cake and what have you. And I said, "So Dad, what does it feel like to be 70? And he says, "Well, 2 things." Yeah. He says 2 things. Number 1, I didn't expect to live this long. Number 2, but I'm glad I'm here. And we want to be able to say that, both of those statements, for as long as we want to be here, as long as we, and Dennis, I don't know about you, but especially since we've moved, and every day I just feel more and more excited, even though there's lots of things around here to do. I love that. And it gives this idea of having good health gives me the impetus, the energy, the excitement, the positivity of jumping into some of these tasks, large or small, but also the brain is working well so that I know that is a task that I don't have the expertise in. And as they say, I'm going to call the guy or the gal, because it may be, And so that's kind of what we want is to be able to continue to do the things we love to do. So let's talk, let's move on to the next level. And this to me is really, it seems to me this is a real important one that can make a huge difference. What is number 5 on this hit parade of a dozen ways to increase your longevity?
Well, number 5 is to detox. And that's the program we had last week. So if you want a full presentation of the detox, go to bodyofhealth.life and check out last week's program where it covers this in great detail. I'm just going to briefly talk about it. So your detox is to do a vitamin C flush and then begin taking binders. Form the habit of rebounding every day. Take the binders for about a week, and then you want to start your detox program. Now, a binder would be diatomaceous earth, bentonite clay, modified citrus pectin. Zeolite is a really good one. That's what I think most people do. Chlorella or activated charcoal. I'm using bentonite clay because I have it right there, and so it's really great. Those binders are a negative charge where the bad stuff's a positive charge, so they act like magnets, pull out the metals, the heavy metals, where your parasites hide within those heavy metals. So by doing the binders first, you're removing their hiding places, and then you want to remove the parasites. You do that with wormwood, cloves, and black walnut hulls. You want to take saunas to clean out your skin, and at the same time be avoiding poisons. So if you do that process, which is detailed on the website, you're going to feel a lot better, and your chances of having those terrible diseases, dementia, cancer, stroke, heart attack, is reduced dramatically just by doing this one. Now, all of these 13 or 12, all of these 12 are very important, but like Richard said, this may be the most important of all of them.
And I'll tell you, there are times when you sit there going, "Oh, I've heard about detoxing. This is going to lay me up for a day or two. I may not want to go anywhere." Well, that might be true. So that's when you plan. You set up a plan where we're fortunate where we live and work at home. So that's a plus for us. But if you have to leave the house to go to work and that kind of thing, why don't you set up a weekend? Because sometimes it doesn't take that long. I mean, maybe it takes 24, 36, maybe 48 hours as far as a detox. And you go through the process and so forth. And now there are different kinds of detoxes, aren't there, Dennis? And so you don't necessarily do this all the time or every week or every month.
No.
I know that you mentioned in a previous program there's a biannual. You do it every 6 months or so.
Right. Yeah. January and July, just put it on your calendar at the beginning of the year, save a weekend. Now, you probably won't be able to go out if you do it on Saturday. You probably want to plan to stay at home that day. But then after that, it's not a problem anymore. It's just one day and you stay around the home and watch TV or clean house or do chores or whatever. It's 2 days out of the year to make your life so much better. So that the rest of those 365 days are, you can be really active. Do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. And here's the real plus, Dennis. Now you do your first detox and that's going to really remove a lot of stuff. Then the next day or two after that, you start putting into your body the good things, a lot of the stuff we've talked about. Right. So that when you go to detox 6 months later, it's possible your first detox is going to be, it's going to be pretty potent, shall we say. But the next time you do it, 6 months later, after putting in the good stuff, it's not going to be quite as potent because you don't have as much to remove.
Exactly.
And that's a plus.
Yeah. Plus, the healthier you get, the harder it is for those parasites to work their way into your body. Your resistance is so much stronger after you do the first one. And then once you get into the habit of it, you've removed all those, the first time you detox, you may have heavy metals that you've had most of your life that you're going to be getting out, which will make a tremendous difference in how you feel, how you think, and what you're able to accomplish.
And you mentioned, of course, quite a number of items there. Some of these I have not heard of before. So let's talk a little bit about where I and our listeners and viewers can find some of these items so that they can incorporate them into their detoxification.
When I started trying to help people, I formed this little group of people who were interested in health, and we would find things and they would call me and say, well, I can't find saffron, or I can't find this or that in your body in your, what is it, drink where causes you to live forever.
Oh, yeah. Fountain of Youth drink.
Yeah, it had a bunch of things in it that were not that easy to find. So I thought, well, I'll find them and put them on my website. So that's how the Body of Health website got started. So all of the things that we mentioned, if you're having a hard time finding it, you can go to the Body of Health, and there they'll be. And if they're not, there's question and answer session. And if they're not there, you can say, well, I'm looking for this and I don't find it. So I'll answer your question and then tell you exactly where to get it.
Yeah. Well, that is one of the things I love about what you have set up is the fact that on one of your websites, one of your web pages, shall we say, not Body of Health, but there is bodyofhealth.life. You can also go to realimpactbook.com, and down there at the bottom where there's contact information, Dennis gives you his phone number, not just the email address, but his phone number. So if you have questions, you can give him a call and talk to him. You may not get him directly, leave a message. He'll call you back, but you'll make contact with him, and he'll certainly give you his best, the best information that he has. That's also available through on this program through bodyofhealth.life, through dennisjhenson.com, where you click on the health tab, and then you scroll down, and there are several things you can do. Number one, scroll down to find that information about this program and all of the others. Believe it or not, folks, this is our 25th program. It's amazing how fast this time has gone by. I'm still astounded, Dennis, at all of that. But also, you can also join the Body of Health group on Facebook, because there's a link shortly after, just very close to the top of that page that you can click on, and boom, it'll take you to the Facebook page for the Body of Health group. You can join it and share your experiences. You'll hear the experiences of others, maybe other additional information, that kind of thing. So please avail yourselves of that. And we will continue talking more about these 12 ways to increase your longevity. And we've got one that's coming up here that I'll tell you what, I actually have to it's not enough to do the DIY projects around the house, Dennis. I got to get out the front door, and we'll talk about that in just a moment as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story. It's the Body of Health series here on Tell Me Your Story with Dennis Henson and Richard Dugan, Reverend Dr. D. And Dennis, we've done the detox, all right? We made it through those couple of days, and now it's the next weekend, let's just say, and I need to, as I'm starting to put the good stuff in there, I'm starting to feel a little bit better, and I'm bouncing on my little trampoline, my rebounding and all that good stuff. But, that's good, but I need to do a little bit more. What's number 6?
Well, number 6 is exercise. And if you want to live long and feel good, you can't just be sitting on a recliner watching TV all day long, because your body was not made for that. It was made to move around. The easiest exercise, and probably one of the most healthy, is to walk. Now, I think the ideal steps per day is about 7,500. So I saw a study last week that said if you want to get weight off and keep it off, you walk 8,500 steps a week and it will stay off. Well, that's, not a week, a day, 8,500 steps a day. But if you just want to maintain your health, 5,000 steps a day or more is adequate. If you just walk 5,000, it's really not that far. It's like a couple of miles or 50 minutes. If it's raining, you can use the rebounder. I have a little app on my phone that tells me how many steps, and when I'm jumping on the rebounder, it counts the steps. So you can stay inside and do the rebounder if it's raining or snowing or too hot or whatever. But most days you should do the walking. Another great exercise, which is super simple, is to balance on one foot. Now, not only is it good exercise, it increases your brain activity. It helps you think more clearly, helps you avoid Alzheimer's and dementia. And it's just so simple. You just stand on one foot, count as many as you can. Now, if you can't count to 20, you're probably in trouble. You need to be able to walk. And most people would be surprised if you stand on one foot and you can't count to 20, that you're in dangerous territory. You're probably not going to live a lot longer. That's one key point for, to test how your longevity is working out. But if you can stand on one foot and count to 50, you're in pretty good shape if you can do that on both feet. And then intermittent interval training, so that you do something that's really hard and get your heart pumping. Something, lifting weights or doing push-ups or squats or setups or sitting down and standing up or climbing up a stairwell. If you can do that a couple of times a day, that's also really good for you.
Yeah.
But at a minimum, you should be walking and supplementing with a rebounder. Well,
I have counted, and we have 2 flights of stairs, 12 steps each, and I just did the calculation. And in order to get in 8,500 steps, I would have to go up and down both flights of stairs 354 times. Now, I know I don't do that every day. There's no way. And I might wear out the stairs too. That's probably a little bit more rough on the knees and so forth, as well as the feet going down and the knees going up. So I better just maybe if I need to take on a hill. We've got plenty of them up here on the mountain. So, or drive out to the lake, and they have a bike and walking path around the lake. And maybe just go around the lake once or halfway, what have you. Find a place, folks. I know in Phoenix, where I used to live as a kid growing up, there was this park. It was called Encanto Park in the center of town, and it had a lagoon. You could get paddle boats and that kind of. But it had greenery. It had wide open spaces like that. Not quite the size of Central Park. Oh boy, if you get Central Park and walk that one, even better. But find a place where you've got some wonderful scenery and the weather's good for you. You're not too hot, not too cold. And because, again, when we talked earlier about hot and cold, we're talking about, like you mentioned, cold baths or saunas. Not necessarily walking out in 100-degree temperature kind of thing. But find a place to do that. And we've got sufficient around here where we live now, where we can do that. And so it's a wonderful thing. Now, Dennis, there are, you've got a lot of these things that you're asking us to consider here. How does doing these things, all of this stuff, how does it result in a longer life?
Well, there's a number of things that are involved. First of all, they help reduce stress, lower your blood pressure, open your arteries, promote blood flow, slow blood clogging in your arteries and veins. They increase your stamina, help you sleep, support your muscles and brain function. They remove parasites, prevent disease, and slow aging. And most of all, they promote stem cell production. And that's really a key to living long and staying young and feeling better.
That's one big one right there. And because we tend to stress ourselves out in a lot of different ways, but a lot of times, mostly it's sometimes tapping into social media and the news and that kind of thing. Don't need that. That's why I love going to my Audible and listening to the different books. I used to have problems with blood pressure. That's something that's amazing to me. You hear all these things about dealing with blood pressure and high blood pressure. My mother says, "Oh well, don't worry about it. It's hereditary. Most of the family has high blood pressure." And I just said, "I'm sorry, I understand what you're saying, but," and I didn't say this to her, I said it to myself, "I don't accept that. I'm not gonna stay there. And I'm not taking any meds for high blood pressure, and my blood pressure's fine."
Well, that's very interesting that you said you go to Audible and listen, because number 7 is to study health. And if you're going to be walking anyway, why not put on some headphones, take your cell phone with you, or whatever instrument you have for listening, and learn while you're walking. My book, Real Impact Daily Inspiration, in the back of it, it has a list of very powerful books. So if you don't know what you should be listening to, you can start with that, form the habit of reading and listening every day. Listening to something that leads you toward your goal. Now, why am I saying this? Because if your goal is to be healthy and live longer, then you're going to read or listen to something every day that leads you toward your goal. And I found that the best time to do that is if you're going to be walking 5, 6, 7,000 steps a day, you're going to have some time. But that's anywhere from 50 minutes to an hour and a half every single day. And you can learn a tremendous amount during that time if you don't waste it. If you're just walking and just thinking, you're not learning. But if you're walking, get those headphones on. I don't even use them sometimes. I just listen to my cell phone.
Yeah.
But let's say maybe you're having a problem walking. Maybe you develop plantar fasciitis. And so you think, well, what can I do about this? Well, then you just go to YouTube or Google and find a video or an audio and listen. And it will say, well, you need supports for your feet and you need to take collagen. And the next thing you know, it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
It's just amazing how that works. So that's number 7.
Yeah.
And number 8 fits right in with that because you're walking anyway. Number 8 is to get sunlight and fresh air.
Oh, yeah.
So when you're walking, you're going to be in the sunlight and fresh air. And you want to breathe deeply while you're doing that. So you do your 521 breathing while you're walking also. You can still be listening and doing your breathing. And humming increases nitric oxide. There is a frequency when you hum, a low frequency that causes your skull to vibrate. And you move up and down humming until you find that right frequency that's vibrating your skull. That increases the nitric oxide, which is exceptionally good for your blood flow. It causes your veins and arteries to become supple. It puts a extra lining on the inside of your arteries to stop the cracks that cause the blockage. The reason that you have blockage is because the cholesterol goes to cover the tears and cracks inside your arteries and veins. And the more that happens, the more blockage you have. If you're taking nitric oxide every day, you don't have that problem.
First of all, I'll tell you that the beautiful thing about where we live now, our back deck, we can go out there and we get the first rays of the morning sun as it starts to rise. And it's there for maybe a half hour or so before it gets above the eaves and we get the shadows. And then the issue of humming, my good friend who I've had on this program on Tell Me Your Story many times, Jonathan Goldman, has written a book about humming. He's very much into sound therapy. Every year on Valentine's Day, he has what's called the World Sound Healing Day. And what you're talking about, I'm sure, is something that he mentions in his book in terms of the physiological effects of humming. Plus the fact that sometimes you'll have this one song in your head and there's nothing wrong with singing, but the humming aspect that you're talking about, that is very, very interesting. Tell you what, we're going to continue on because I got a couple more questions in this regard. And we still have a few more items here on this list of a dozen ways to increase your longevity as we continue here on The Body of Health. Don't forget to go to bodyofhealth.life. There's also DennisJHenson.com and the realimpactbook.com website, Real Impact Book. And we'll talk more about all of that as we continue here on Tell Me Your Story, the Body of Health series. We are going to dive in now, Dennis, here on the Body of Health to this aspect of, we talked a little bit ago about exercise, but a lot of these different things. Obviously, the humming is not an issue, and you don't have to carry a tune. It's like you said, you have to feel as you're humming the tone that you're doing, getting the vibrating of the skull. But is age a problem, especially when it comes to the issue of exercise?
No, well, it's not a problem. This is a solution because as you get older, your body starts to fall apart. If you can plug these things in, it kind of reverses that, or at least slows it down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a great reason for you to go and say, this is too much for you. You probably are not sitting there taking notes right now, but you may hear something and think, oh, I wish I could remember that. Well, that's the reason that we have the Body of Health.life, because we have a recap written out of each of these things. So, for example, this next one, number 9, is fasting. Well, you might not remember that. You might think, well, what were those 13 things? But fasting is really important because it gives your body a reset. And the longer you fast, the better it is for you, because the body starts to stop taking the nourishment, stop eating the things that you've been eating, and starts devouring itself. And the things that it devours is the fat cells that have captured all of the bacteria and the other bad things and stored them in those fat cells. So when your body starts doing ketosis, or eating itself, it's eating or burning those fat cells that have the bad things in them and getting them out of your body. So that's another way to detox. And it causes your stem cells to grow. The longer you fast, the more stem cells you have. And those stem cells go anywhere in your body where there's a problem, and they start to solve the problem. So there's different kinds of fasting. The intermittent fasting is really easy. You just skip breakfast. You have a big window there. You don't eat any snacks. And so maybe you have your last meal at 7 o'clock and you don't have another meal to noon the next day. You can do that really, really easily, and it's not hard. The next one is like a 3 or 4 day fast. If you've never done it before, you better prepare yourself for it, because you're going to get hungry and have, you're going to have stages where it's hard to get through, and you have to have a lot of will to get to the 3 or 4 days. One thing that helps is if you press your tongue against the roof of your mouth really hard, that will alleviate the aches and pains of hunger. And another thing you can do is drink water. When you get hungry, drink a glass of water, put some salt in it so that you're hydrated, and you'll be surprised. And there's also other drinks you can have. You can have certain kinds of teas and so forth. But just remember, fasting is really good for you, and you don't have to do it all the time. Maybe do it a couple of times a year. Maybe 4 times a year you'll do intermittent fasting, and a couple of times, or maybe even one. If you could do an extremely long one, let's say maybe a week or 2 weeks, that would be a great reset, especially if you're fighting obesity. Fasting is probably the number one best way to do that. And to keep it off, the intermittent fasting, I could intermittent fast. I mean, I don't even miss breakfast after I've done it, but I'm so thin, I can't continue to do it because I lose too much weight. But it's really not hard for me. And number 10, so we keep this moving a little bit, is get deep sleep. Now, that's not always easy, but we have a Oh, we have a section on the body of health life in the store, in the Shopify store, where we put together all the things you need to get a good night's sleep. Now, some of those are physical things, but some of those are supplements. So if you go there, my secretary's put together, and it's you get them and you get a discount. If you buy these 4 or 5 things, I don't remember how many there are, but if you buy them together, you get a discount. And since you're listening to this, if you put in the code radio, you get an additional 20%. So you get them for an extremely low price, but the sleep is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Being able to get that quality sleep. And then number 11 is, and you talked about it just a few minutes ago, develop a healthy, positive mental attitude. Now, the way to do that is laugh, watch funny movies, read funny books, read stories, do whatever, tell jokes. I have a friend, every time I see him, he's got a new joke. and you don't just laugh a little bit, you let it out. The more and longer you can laugh, the more healthy you'll be. And it's fun. Okay. You can't be laughing and be sad at the same time. And under that, another thing is to be grateful. Sit down, and if you haven't done this, it's a great exercise. Sit down and write 20 things you're grateful for and read them every day. And try to add something to that list every single day. And then the final one on this, develop a healthy, positive mental attitude, is love your pet. I have a little dog named Cooper, and Norm and I just spoiled him right. Man, he's totally spoiled. But the love that he gives us back is more than worth the time and money and effort that's involved in having a pet. So if you don't have a pet, maybe you should get one. You'll live longer, you'll feel better, and you'll love loving the pet who will love you back 1,000 times more.
Absolutely. We have 3 cats, and boy, I tell you what, I love them when I hear them racing throughout the house, up and down those 2 flights of stairs, like a herd of cattle. But then at night when they come, and one of them will actually walk up and flop down and curl up between the 2 of us, between our pillows. And we just love the daylights out of that one, and whichever one comes up there. So I couldn't agree with you more. And as we get close to the end here, we're at number 12. What is our 12th item to round out the dozen?
Well, it's kind of surprising too, just like the first one. And number 12 is social bonding. Enjoy meaningful time. Like I enjoy this every week. This is social bonding to me. I look forward to being with Richard and talking. We talk before the show and after the show about the different things that are happening in our life. I have an office staff that I love. They love me. They've been with me for many, many years, and we talk about different things other than work. And I have friends that I call occasionally and say, hey, let's go out and have lunch, your wife and my wife, and we'll all go out and have something to eat. Those kind of things are special, but they're also really good for you, because if you secluded yourself to just yourself, something changes inside you. And you're not going, something clicks and your mind says, well, there's not much of a reason for us to stay here much longer.
Right.
And you do not want that to click in, because then everything starts to fall apart. So if you don't have friends, make friends. If you don't have an animal, get one.
Yeah.
Go to dances, go to social clubs, join different groups of things that you're interested in, and you'll meet people there that you can bond with.
Well, today we've been talking about a dozen ways to live longer. That's the whole longevity thing. Our very, very, very first program on this series had to do with a drink, the Fountain of Youth drink. And
Yes.
you can find that recipe on the website that is dennisjhenson.com. You click on the health tab and then you scroll down and you will find that recipe for that particular item. And all of the information that has been talked about on each of these programs, the series that we've been doing called Body of Health. And if you're looking for different items that are listed, maybe in that recipe or other things that we've talked about, like today with the detox, go to bodyofhealth.life. We encourage you to get more information and do what you can. And always, always, always check with your particular health practitioner in regards to some of the things that we've talked about that you've got questions, or go to realimpactbook.com, scroll down, get the contact information, and get a hold of Dennis, and he'll be more than happy to provide you with information. Again, as we've said before, neither of us are doctors, but the information has been gathered because it works for us, it works for Dennis, and we hope that you'll do that. And Dennis, as we wrap up here, I'll give you the last word.
Well, thank you, Richard. I really appreciate this opportunity to share some of the things that I've learned. I hope that everybody that's listening in will take advantage of the things that we put up. They're free. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to purchase anything. You can go and just read and share the information with your friends. I hope it helps. And if it does, I hope you give us feedback. Let us know, wow, we did this and it made a big difference in our life. That really makes you feel good to hear that.
Absolutely. I can attest to that. And I mean, we are all making a difference in the lives of the people that are in our lives. And it's exciting. And it's something that it's not that hard to do. All you have to do is tune in to the Body of Health series here on Tell Me Your Story and go to the various websites I've mentioned. I'll go through them real quickly. DennisJHenson.com. bodyofhealth.life, and realimpactbook.com. And Dennis, thanks for joining me here again, and we'll be back next week with our next episode, next installment of the Body of Health. And until our next broadcast, podcast, videocast, love Talal. Jeanette, I'm still listening. Dad, continue to be happy because I am. Mike, thanks for being in my life and letting me be in yours. Smokey, I'll see you on the other side. To my brother Mike, congratulations, Dad. And to my dear friend Zorro, aho, aho.